Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another podcast from the Stay at Home Dad Gamer, bringing my impressions from the Sacred games that I saw and played at PAX 2012. First up is Sacred Citadel. It's a side scrolling brawler akin to Final Fight, that style of game, and the graphics they looked like stylized 3D graphics. It kind of reminded me of a cross between Arcadian Warriors, if anyone played that early on Xbox Live Arcade, and Shank, kind of somewhere in between there. And the art style was pretty good. It worked with the style of game. It didn't look outrageous. It wasn't like a jarring thing I saw. Looked pretty nice. Detail, it was lush. It was kind of cartoony, but I'm okay with that. And it played like a platform brawler game. So something like Double Dragon Neon or Shank. I only played the demo of that, but it kind of reminded me of that, where it was mostly a Final Fight style beat 'em up, but there was some light platforming in it, and that was fine. It played really well. The controls were really responsive. I never felt out of control of my character, like I was trying to do a different move than what was going on. The X button would attack, and I believe it was the Y button for doing your moves. And one kind of neat thing was that if you held the direction with the button at the end of your combo, direction Y, you would do a different one. So there was a launcher or a stun move or a knockback. And that was a really cool little thing to add to make the combat a little bit less simplistic. However, there's only 3 different directions because left and right count as the same depending on which way you face. And I kind of worry with only one attack button in that I don't know how varied the combos are going to be. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of room for growth. So it might be that it just ends up being too simplistic. And the character I picked, in the one that also my friend DT Jam, who played with me, we each got a special move, but it was mapped to a button. So I don't know if other buttons are mapped to other ones, or if it's like a Tails game where a direction in the button. But it seemed like I only got one special move, and I had an attack button, then I don't know what to call it, like a stronger attack, heavy attack maybe, and then special attack. So I kind of worry that if you can't swap out your special move, or if maybe it's like Borderlands where you just modify that. I don't know. I kind of worried that it might end up being too simplistic. And I tried the game in co-op with my buddy, as I mentioned, and it worked really well. It has a co-op/competitive multiplayer going on where you help your friend get through the level and fight all the bosses, but at the end it tallies you based off number of kills and how many times you were hit and the money you gathered. So at the end of the level, it's kind of like, oh, who did better? And I'm not really a big fan of that. I'll let it go. It's not a deal breaker, but I'm not a super competitive person. So as long as I played with my friends, had fun, we beat the level, and got any bonuses or trophies, achievements, any of that stuff that we wanted by the end of it, I'm happy. I don't need to know if I scored 300 more points than the other person. Sometimes it's fun to look at that kind of stuff, but usually I don't really care. The only other pratfall besides the combat, and if it ends up being simplistic, that I could see is the price. They didn't say a price. They didn't have a release date. It feels like it's one of those games that a couple years ago would have been 800 points, but the trend for the past year or so is to release those. They kind of jack up the price a little bit, so those are like the 1,200 Microsoft points, $15, and I believe this is only coming out on Microsoft Xbox Live Arcade. I don't think there's PSN. And I worry that this will be a $15 game when I think it should be a $10. Not as though the quality's not there, but I think most of the arcade games really should go back to being the $10 because it makes it more accessible. And this, I don't know if the Sacred name has a whole lot of recognition outside of a core fan base. Some of my nerdy friends and I, because we love Sacred too. I never got to play the first one because I don't really play a lot of PC games, but the second one on 360 was actually really fun. A lot of good value. So I really hope that this one will also be fun. And I'm really hoping that they go for the $10 price point because I think it'll actually sell better. Overall, it was pretty fun. Is it a worthy successor to the Sacred title, or should it be in there? I don't know. My friend didn't really like it. I thought it was pretty fun. Time will see how it shapes up. See how long it is, how many classes you can play. Because I believe he said there were 3 classes and then a 4th one they haven't revealed. So I'm kind of hoping that there's actually good level design or a lot of levels to go through, because 4 classes, I'm not sure how differently they'll play. But if the price is too high, that'll hurt. And I don't know. I'm hoping that the combat ends up better and that it comes at a good price, because I would easily pick this up. It was pretty fun. Kind of reminds me of Castle Crashers. It's one of those games pick up and play with your friends and have fun. And next up for the Sacred games I saw at PAX would be Sacred 3. I was definitely excited to see this because I really like Sacred 2, as I said earlier. And watching this game, it was only a live demo. They didn't have any, you couldn't play it and you couldn't take video or photos or anything like that. Not like I take a lot of photos. But it looked really fun. They had 2 people going through. It was like a co-op session. And it was kind of cool because they actually had, it seemed like, plot with the character. So the one guy, he comes from a tribe that worships the sun, so his moves were all sun-based. It was kind of a cool little extra thought put into the character to really kind of bring them together. So it less just seems like, oh, he has these kind of moves. It actually gave a reason for that and like a theme, and I thought that was really cool. And they had a lot of co-op stuff where one person would do a stun move and then the other guy would do a move that would knock him down. And then, the first person could, do like a special like execute move to kill the guy. And it was actually pretty cool looking. I hope that the game isn't too focused on co-op moves. I know this sounds kind of weird, just because you won't always be able to play with another person, and I kind of worry that it'll be geared toward that and the single player might suffer. I mean, I totally want co-op. Sacred 2 had it and it was wonderful. Well, online was kind of weird. But anyway, so I definitely hope that the co-op that it's not too focused on there. I definitely like what I saw. I just hope that that not everything relies on it. And one thing that was kind of cool was when the 2 characters they showed, there was lots of little bubbles at the bottom, so it looks like there's a lot of characters to pick from. That's definitely awesome. Even if it's a male and female version of each character, something like Champions of Norath, that's totally cool. I'm fine with that. It looked like there was a lot of characters. That has me really excited. And when he was going through the stage, he said, that there's different ways to do it. So if you go, it's like reach the exit, and if you go left, you go a different path than if you went right. That's kind of cool. And he said that there was different objectives you do on each stage, where when you go in one time, because you're these characters and you can accomplish these certain things, like, break a wall, or I don't know, just something that I'm making up like that. Or maybe, you could bridge a gap or super jump across. I don't know. There wasn't really platforming stuff, but I'm just giving examples of what different characters might accomplish. But anyway, when you went in, you had different objectives depending on who you were or what you did. So you could do stages multiple times while doing different stuff in them. And that sounds really cool. I just hope that you don't have to redo the stages a lot. Like let's say there's a level you hate. I wouldn't want to have to do it 4 times for all the different objectives just to go through. It seemed kind of lazy if literally one stage and you had to go through multiple times. If each path would still lead on, so as long as you completed that stage in one of the multiple paths, it counted as beaten. That's cool, because then I would be okay with going through the get levels or equipment or with other characters. It would just kind of suck to be forced to do that. It's something I would want to do if I wanted to do it, so hopefully they don't force it. And also in Sacred 2, it had a huge world map, and you had dungeons and caves and all that stuff. It was a lot like Diablo, just really fun too. And with how when they showed, he teleported into the level and ran through it, and it seems more focused on little levels, so I'm kind of hoping that it still has the world map. And I'm not sure if it will have a world map and then you just go to these different ones, or if it's more like you select your level from a list. We'll see how that goes. Each has its ups and downs. I can't say much more than we'll have to see what happens when it comes out or when more information is released. And the last thing I want to touch on is customization for characters. Last time, there was tons of it. I loved it. You picked your skills. You could pick how to power them up. And there was a lot of customization. And I hope that stays for Sacred 3. Easily one of my favorite things from Sacred 2. And I just hope it's there. They didn't show any level ups or anything like that, so I have no idea if you can pick skills or how you power them up, if there's that kind of customization. So we hope so. But it actually looked really cool, and I was kind of sad that they didn't have it playable. And I'm definitely looking forward to this. I can't wait till they have some more trailers, show some more characters, and a little bit more information comes out about this, so I can check out and see if any of the small problems I have persist, or if maybe they look better, and any of those questions that I still have lingering hopefully will get answered. Definitely one I'm going to be looking out for, though.